Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DreamHack Dallas Halo 3 Grassroots Tournament. We are live from Texas and we've just seen GMS take our Saturday morning by storm. They just beat Reciprocity 3-1 in a match I really was not expecting to go that way. I had predicted that it was going to be Reciprocity, but boy, was I wrong. My name is Lost Van Program. I'm joined by my very good friend Lethal. How are we? We're going to do fist bumps this morning. Yep, that is right. Amazing stuff from GMS.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. You know, what a great way to start today. You know, I love a good upset meet, but
oh yeah,
I didn't expect in that time GMS, you know, completely different version of them compared to day one. Day two, a much stronger comparison. It's great to see that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And talking about a much stronger comparison, the stronger side here would be Dan Gaskin to that of Clutch, of course, joining us on the desk. Oh yeah.
You can.
Look at the size of the guns. You can't even handle it. I know you can.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog, Dan.
Whatever that means, I don't even know. But either way, he's excited.
No, he is excited. Lovely to have you guys joining me again. Day number 2. I haven't seen you guys yet. How are you feeling?
Yep, feeling good. GMS, as you said, coming out with a storm this morning. Reciprocity maybe a little bit slower and we expected more, but I think that's kind of set the precedent for today. Like, we know there's going to be some big results and a chance for these open teams maybe to upset some bigger teams as well.
100%. Clutch, you always go by the phrase, I never get anything wrong. I am always right. I predict right. What would you have predicted that last series?
Yeah, you know, it's tough. I don't know if I would have predicted Reciprocity to lose that series, but I definitely respect GMS enough to say that it's not fair to count them out of that series at all. And like I kind of touched on Friday, there's about 6 to 7 teams that can win this tournament, and those were 2 of them. And these teams are going to battle it out, and these teams are going to be playing like these best of 5s where either team can win. It's not a best of 11, which like would determine the better team the majority of the time. Anybody can win a best of 5, and when that happens, when someone like Fantasy is playing that well, then I mean that's GMS's series.
Do you see Reciprocity now moving through the elimination bracket? Are they that team, from what you've seen this morning now, are they that team to meet at the end in that grand final?
Well, they're not in the elimination bracket yet. They're still in their pool, and that was, I believe, just the first series.
I keep forgetting that they were in the open bracket.
They can still come out of their series.
Yeah, you're right.
Second in their pool and be in the winner's bracket still. I think they do have a long road ahead of them. They do still have a couple of matches in their pool play that they are basically must-wins if they don't want to make a loser's bracket run this tournament. But that being said, yeah, I expect them to kind of get it together and still advance in this pool.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely need a reminder. So let's have a look at groups right now, because I clearly need to have a little look at this. I'm not used to seeing Reciprocity come through that open bracket run. There they go. Okay, so they're 0-1 at the moment. GMS obviously pushing them behind there. And like Clutch, actually lovely to say to me and update me on the fact that they actually are not in the elimination bracket yet. Dan, could they be though?
Well, there's a situation where 3 teams could be on 2-1, and then it's going to come down to some form of tiebreakers. Yes, they could be in the lower bracket. If they play the same way they did just then against Falling, they may just lose again, and then suddenly they're in the lower bracket. But it's Reciprocity. They have players like Lunchbox, like Roy, who are going to be saying, this is what went wrong, this is what we need to do better. And if they can analyze those situations, if they can improve and work on those situations, then they're going to be better because the players they have on that team.
100%. Well, on the schedule, up next we have Invincibles versus Cutting Edge. Of course, we've seen that EU roster Invincibles play yesterday. I was impressed with some of the stuff that I was seeing. I wasn't expecting massive things from them being a new roster, but that duo of Jimbo and Respectful always comes up clutch for us with the EU side. And I was really impressed, but against Cutting Edge right now, I do really feel like they have that upper hand and that experience over them.
Oh yeah, they've played a lot of series yesterday going into that open bracket, but with Invincible, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit disappointed. They know what mistakes they've made in the past and what they've done during the past couple of series, but this is a series they need to win. If they don't, they will go into that first round of the elimination bracket, and it's not saying it's a tall order, don't get me wrong, they may have more series to try and iron things out, but they shouldn't be losing to a team like Cutting Edge. Don't get me wrong, they're a great team, you know, they haven't really lost too many games in that open bracket, but they're not anyone to be messed with. They've got a couple of decent players there, but I feel like with Invincible now, they need to kind of work on their mentality a little bit and speed up their aggression in terms of when they actually go those counter attacks.
We've been saying, haven't we, Lethal?
All day yesterday I've been saying that. You know, I'm going to say it for the next 2 days as well.
I know. Gaskin, but this is their chance right now against Cutting Edge to show us what they have got. I mean, sometimes it's kind of difficult to try and find your pacing and your feet against some of the top teams straight away, especially on a Friday when you are getting used to that LAN environment once again. So to go against Cutting Edge now, we're going to see bigger and better things, do you think?
I think the positive for this Invincible roster is they're going to be playing 4 game types in this series layout that they've not played yet. It could be some of their better game types. I don't think they were playing their best game types yesterday. A lot of King of the Hill Construct, for example, where they were struggling a little bit. But I also think that from speaking to them yesterday, they weren't particularly happy with how they played and what went on. So I'm excited to see what they do today.
Absolutely. In Clutch, on the screen right now, we've got our series layout here. Capture the flag to start with on Narrows, Slayer on the pit, Oddball Guardian right bang in the middle, capture the flag on Onslaught, and to end things off, we've got Slayer on Construct. Now, I just want to ask you, because obviously, you know, you weren't EU bashing yesterday whatsoever, and maybe slightly at the beginning, but in the middle of the series, I did actually see some positive vibes coming from you there. You were kind of taken aback by some of the individual skill, maybe respectful.
I mean, I know these guys have the individual skill to be competing at the top. That's not like the question. It's the execution of strategy and the fact that their lack of power weapon control the entire time we had to watch them, even throughout the Denial series. I mean, it was the same story, different series for them. It was, we're not going to get any rockets. We're not going to really get any overshields or snipers, and we're going to try and play against a stacked deck, and that's a terrible strategy to try and employ against a team like Tox or Denial. Fortunate for them, they find themselves up against Cutting Edge today. And this is kind of a series that I expect them to kind of get their feet on the ground and start running if they're going to make a loser's bracket run in this tournament, because they're going to have to do it through the loser's bracket, but they can improve their seed in the loser's bracket if they're able to win this series. Now, this Cutting Edge roster does have a lot of like top amateurs, I'll say, that do have some individual skill that spend a lot of time playing Halo 3. But this is definitely a series that Invincible needs to take advantage of. I mean, like, I think they're very aware of how good this Cutting Edge team, and they know that they should not lose the series.
100%. And just a quick note before we get into predictions, that Cutting Edge actually in open bracket play, Dan's actually informed me that they only dropped 1 map in their entire run so far. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they did, and it wasn't a map that they're playing. It was CTF Heretic against Queen's team. So this is a good bunch of game types for Cutting Edge. The games they've won, they've played Narrows, they've played Pit, they've played Guardian, they've played Onslaught. They're going to be warmed up. They're 9-1 maps yesterday, going up against Invincibles, who are 0-6. So momentum is definitely with the open team.
100%. Right, here we go. Predictions time it is. I'm going to go Invincibles. I'm really happy to be able to predict something really positive for them. So I hope they speed things up a bit, Lethal.
Oh, they definitely need to. I'm going to say Invincibles as well, but looking at those game types, it kind of shouts coordination rather than mental agility for these teams, especially with the Guardian Ball. And the only, I would say, the gun skill map in those game types was the Onslaught CTF, but I reckon Invincible will take that as well. But it'll probably be, I'd say, just one game, so I'd say 3-1 Invincibles.
Okay, Gaskin?
Every team I predicted has lost so far, so I feel like I should predict Cutting Edge just for the European guys. But I think Invincibles should win this one. They should. They should.
It's your time to shine now, Dan. You'll get one. It's fine. Yeah,
okay.
I got this. Clutch.
Yeah, I don't think that Cutting Edge is going to be is going to put as much pressure onto Invincibles as Invincibles has been receiving throughout this tournament. I think this is a great series for them. I think it's going to be a sweep. I think it's going to be a 3-0 Invincibles.
Amazing stuff. Well, we'll find out very shortly because, gentlemen, I'm going to put it in your capable hands to take this away for your first cast of the day, so enjoy.
Thank you very much, Lottie. Yeah, so Invincible versus Cutting Edge. We have an open team who performed exceptionally well yesterday. They didn't drop a series. They only dropped the 1 map, as I was mentioning beforehand, Clutch. In the first game is going to be Capture the Flag on Narrows. We saw Invincible on Slayer Narrows yesterday, where they really struggled. How do you feel like they're going to perform against Cutting Edge?
I think this is a great opportunity for them to kind of display their individual skill and really show like the rest of the world that they do have individual skill in Halo 3. And what better way to do it with a couple of snipes on the map and rockets as well. And I think that like the players like Respectful, players like Jimbo are really going to be able to take advantage of the outline of Narrows and the power weapons that it's given.
Yeah, I think power weapons is going to be extremely important and something we're going to have to be focusing on when it comes to this game. I'm pretty sure that Invincible should be confident coming into it. However, there's always going to be that thought in the back of their mind of, well, what's going to happen? Are we going to throw this against an open game? But this is a chance for them to really show what they're made of. We are going to jump into Narrows, Capture the Flag. Then I believe that we're just about ready to get this started between these two teams. And I'm very excited to see how they do, Clutch, because you know what? This is a make or break kind of game. I feel like if they lose this against an open bracket team, they're the morale and their spirit is going to be so down.
Yeah, you say that, Dan, but they did a good job against Tox yesterday about really rebounding and putting up a fight in Game 3, even though they were down 0-2. And we're hopping on board here. What looks like a reciprocity series. This is going to be Snipe Down's point of view.
I think we've ended up in a slightly different game, which I'm sure we can get that fixed ever so shortly for you guys. There we go. Now we move over to the correct game. And actually, it's already 8 minutes into this game, Clutch, and it's already a 1-0 lead for Invincible, as we were on board with Respectful there. So clearly, an early start has gone well for them.
On the bright side, our predictions are looking great so far. We're up 1-0. On the side of Invincibles, and it looks like they do have map control. We are seeing a snipe come up in the hands of Respectful, and this is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Respectful with the opportunity in the middle of the game to pick up the snipe and really do some work for his team to carry on this game 1.
Yeah, I think when we saw Respectful with a sniper yesterday, he was often kind of backing off into his base, and he was really struggling to get into those aggressive, advantageous positions to make full use of the sniper rifle. But hopefully he can get into some of those positions now as he's trying to take a battle with Hunter on the other side, finds a snipe shot into Evader's body and picks up that kill, and that should allow the rest of his team to push up and join him top middle. That's what they need to be doing, but Jimbo's pushing bottom middle. Of course, they'll be thinking about those rockets popping up at some point.
Yeah, rockets aren't going to be up for at least another minute, Dan, so we do just have kind of a snipe standoff here. If he's able to get a few picks, all of his teammates are low right now. I need Respectful to back up and just play his life right now, because he can get overwhelmed very easy. He does have a teammate that ends up getting up top with him after he body shots a player. Gets another body shot on a play. This is going to be a great opportunity for Invincibles to capture the fight.
Nice double from Respectful. Looks for the triple as well. Can't quite find it, but he does find 2 body shots, which is just going to keep both of those players at bay, keep them on spawn, and it means Guntype can run in and try and finish them off as well. 2-0 to Invincible on capture the flag and Narrows then. We did join it a little bit late, but at least now we're starting to see some action unfold. And it's not like these cutting edge players are they're not used to playing in pro games. They're not used to playing in kind of championship brackets. We've seen them perform in various tournaments throughout Halo 5 and throughout Halo 3. For example, UGC Classic, we saw a lot of these players performing.
Yeah, these guys have been around the scene for a very long time. All of them very individually skilled players. It's always been, how can they get better at the 4v4 aspect of Halo? How can they implement strategy into their game more than just their shot and their individual skill? And it looks like they're having a hard time right now against Invincibles. Invincibles looks like they're just overwhelming them up top right now. Kyle does get a kill before going down, but Invincible's push is still on the loose. Yeah,
they make a push, but they're shut down immediately. Flux tries to get a quick scope, but can't quite find it, which means Kyle now has the opportunity to push up and try and cover these rockets that have spawned. And we're going to have a battle unfold to try and pick them up as soon as possible. It is Kyle who grabs them, fires one away. They do stay on the map, though, so it might be a chance to grab them for Invincible. But look at the aggression from the rest of Cutting Edge, because they know they can't allow those rockets to be easily snapped up.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Cutting Edge, like, that just seemed like it was a tough play for Kyle to kind of force. Evader does end up picking up those rockets, though, so they do end up getting control of them, but they're not able to put them to much use. Evader does shoot the last 2, is unable to pick up a kill. And I really want to see Cutting Edge take their time here and get a set of kills before trying to run this fight, because I don't think they're going to be able to cap it unless they do.
Yeah, I think someone on Cutting Edge kind of needs to step up and take control of this team and really be the leader, as Flux will shut down Hunter, and that flag run's not going to happen.
And we didn't see that on screen, but Guntype just no-scoped someone in the face and then sniped another guy for a double to completely stop any chance of a flag cap, and Guntype is still going off with the snipe. If we can get it on his point of view, he's securing his team this 3rd cap. This is all Guntype's show right now. And this is exactly what Invincibles needs out of Guntype. This is the reason that they went to North America and were like, we need a Guntype on our team. And they're able to close out that game 3-0.
And it seemed like a relatively quick game, but we did join it slightly late. But either way, it was a 3-0 lead and eventually a 3-0 victory for Invincible. I think you completely hit the nail on the head. Guntype really giving the chance to shine now against this open side of Cutting Edge. And this is really what we expected from Invincibles, wasn't it?
It's really what I wanted to see out of Invincibles. I don't know if it's what I expected, but this is exactly what I wanted to see. Because even though we weren't watching that game for the entirety of it, we had the opportunity to see Respectful with snipe. Then we saw Jimbo with snipe. Then we saw Guntype with snipe. And all three of them were making plays. And that results in a 3-0 dominant fashion. And that's exactly what this team needs to start their Saturday off if they plan on going on a run and actually getting a placing that they want at this tournament.
And they were doing a little bit better at kind of controlling power weapons as well, pushing for those rockets at the right time, which is what we didn't see yesterday. So I wonder whether they've watched back yesterday's games and maybe thought about what they needed to be doing today.
Yeah, it's tough because the amount of pressure that a team like Denial or Tox puts on you is completely different than what Cutting Edge is going to be able to do to you. So it's a lot harder to get those power weapons. But in a match like this, like, it's really easy to try and get that rhythm back and try and like start focusing on the basics again and the fundamentals. So hopefully they're able to use this and start to like grasp that concept and really just take away with it when they do find themselves against a stronger team later on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's the strong teams they need to be beating if they want to progress and get to better seedings in the future. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in this rut of being around like a top 12 seed, facing these top 2 teams, and then always falling for them in.
Well, the thing is, it's like when you're the underdog, you need the better weapons and the overshields to have a chance to win the series. When you're like the favorite and you're the better team, like, it's okay to not get every set of rockets or every snipe because you probably have more individual skill. You probably have more teamwork. You can do without that. But when you're giving like the teams that are significantly better than you better weapons, it doesn't result the way you want it.
It doesn't go too great. Game number 2 is going to be Slayer on the pit. With the rocket control, we saw a little bit more with the sniper prowess we saw from some of the players. I feel like the momentum should naturally carry on into pit Slayer, but it is a game type that we've not seen Invincible play this tournament. However, for Cutting Edge, they have won it twice already in open bracket.
I'll be very surprised to see how Cutting Edge wants to play this game type. After getting mollywopped in game 1, I'll be very surprised that if they're going to sit. If they're going to be aggressive on Pit Slayer, because there's 2 ways to play Pit Slayer. You can be really passive and you can try and watch each lane and kind of let your snipe do work, or you can be mad aggressive and like be pushing long haul and overshield and be the one that's trying to set the pace for the game. It's going to be really interesting to see if Cutting Edge, after getting 3-0'd on Arrow's flag, is like kind of scared and taken back and starts playing on their heels, or are they going to be aggressive and are they going to try and make plays this game?
What was the word you used to describe it? Mollywopped.
Mollywopped.
What does that mean?
That's a British term.
Is it?
Yeah, mollywopped.
No, it's not.
That means you got destroyed.
Okay, we'll just go with destroyed. I mean, I'm British and I don't know the term, so I feel like you're just lying.
It's because you stay inside too much playing video games.
That's true, but that's why I'm here today. So Slayer Pit, I think that this whole series is going to shape Invincible's tournament. I know it's going to change where they fare in the lower bracket, and they'll get that slightly better seed. But also, I think if they can 3-0 an open team and they can actually start to get some belief about them again, suddenly that confidence is going to be in them. Because there was a little bit of bickering between them after games yesterday.
I'm kind of on the opposite boat of this series. I'm like, Invincibles knows that they should 3-0 this team. Like, Invincibles knows that they want to be... They think that they're a top 8 team. Top 8 teams 3-0 these guys with ease. Game 1 was a great result in how they wanted this series to go. If this series ends up going any more than 4 games, Invincibles is going to be very upset, and that does not bode well for them. But we do find ourselves going into Pit Slayer right now. I'd be very interested to see if the power weapon control can carry on from Game 1 into Game 2, that Invincibles was able to dominate and really take control with the rockets and the snipers.
Yeah, this is going to be a great chance for the Invincible lineup just to show their dominance and show the world what they're made of. I was speaking to Jimbo yesterday and he said, I'm sick and tired of playing the likes of Tox on main stage and then going on to a feature station afterwards and beating someone 3-0. I want to be able to do that on the main stage. I want to do that in front of the world so they know what we're actually capable of as we do finally jump into Pit Slayer. Thank you for bearing with us, as it is going to be an early aggression style from Guntype just to try and secure these rockets. Of course, a very important battle for both rockets and overshield at the start, but Guntype has had to retreat and give up those rockets because he had no one with him.
And that's fine, and that's what I was exactly talking about, Dan. Like, when you're a lesser team, Guntype has no reason to try and force a death, trying to fight 2 guys going for rockets. Just give the rockets up. Your team will make plays to be able to cancel the rockets out later in this game.
Well, Respectful does have a sniper rifle, but there are the rockets at the bottom of his feet as Posey picks that one up. The overshield is in Flux's hands, and he gets a sniper rifle to boot, so now he can push on and try and just stay alive. Thankfully, the overshield does keep him alive from the sniper shot. And now he can try and look around and see if he can take this sniper fight. You've always got to be very brave on Pit to be a sniper player, I feel, because you have to put yourself in slightly strange angles to try and catch your opponents off guard, but unfortunately for Flux, he just can't find the shots, eventually gets the head of Evader.
Yeah, that was a nice snipe by Flux. Yeah, I want to see him try and stay alive. It was really interesting that what Respectful chose to do with the snipe and try and be on mid-bridge, knowing that the other team got rockets at the beginning of the game. Like, trying to be aggressive when you know the team wins the rocket, well, the other team wins the rocket fight is really a difficult battle to try and fight at the beginning of the game, but they seem to have weathered that storm. You do see Guntype pushing the street on our screen right now. I love this play from Flux. He's pushing into Sword. He's going to try and be aggressive. This is what Invincibles wants to do. They want to be aggressive.
Flux just needs to have the communication with his teammates so they can help see if anyone's going to push him from that Sword ramp. Otherwise, he could get caught off guard. Does spot Posey in the pit, but instead is just going to back off here. Very intelligent play as the game does start to slow down already, but there's Posey again. The double no-scope from Flux is enough. Looks to try and find a double kill with the no-scope, but he should sensibly just back off and once again save some of these sniper bullets for maybe some guaranteed kills.
Yeah, what I love, what Flux is doing that I love right now is relocating every time he gets spotted by Cutting Edge. He's not staying in the same spot with the snipe because Cutting Edge is going to be looking exactly where they last saw him. So him being able to relocate there on the mid-bridge and get that double no-scope onto a player, and now he's finding himself down by OS with Overshield coming up. I mean, he's playing this perfect to a T.
That Overshield, I don't know whether it got burnt by Flux there. Might have done, because I don't think anyone was able to actually pick it up. But of course, the rockets are going to be spawning in around 30 seconds or so as well, so everyone's going to start to naturally shift their weight towards green. Flux is actually going to push his opposition's train and finds one, looks for a second. It is going to be Kyle, but he can't quite connect with the bullets. He's pressured from the flag spawn. It means he again has to keep retreating, but it's very intelligent play yet again from Flux, knowing when he needs to back off. Yeah,
I want to see Guntype kind of back up with this. And actually, Guntype has the enemy sniper, so now Invincibles was able to steal Cutting Edge's snipe, and Jimbo and Guntype both have snipes. They're going to play this one passive. But sometimes having two snipes, like Squared mentioned in the last series, is a bad thing, Dan.
Yeah, you can put yourself in a couple of weird situations, and if you don't hit those sniper shots, then suddenly your opponent is going to be able to kind of swarm through and use their BR power against you, as the rockets have been picked up, but it's going to be Hunter who has those on the side of Cutting Edge. And that's a nice snipe from Guntype. Those are the kind of shots he needs to be hitting to keep this lead for Invincible. It's a 7-kill lead right now. They were able to burn the Overshield. They've got both snipers. Okay, they don't have the rockets, but as long as they're not too aggressive, they should be able to wait for the rocket guy just to naturally find himself out.
Absolutely. When you have two snipes like this, you can kind of cancel out the other team's rocket guy by just backing up and watching lanes. That rocket guy is going to be forced to shoot long-range rockets, which are very low chance and kill potential. And I think that this is going to benefit Invincibles as long as they decide to play this passive.
Looks like Guntype is going to be the most passive, just sat on the tower with the sniper rifle at the moment. Hunter is actually waiting in Sword with those rockets, just hoping that someone's going to run past, but I don't think any of Invincible are going to play ball, and instead they're going to start to think about the Overshield that should be coming up very shortly. As Respectful moves his way to the opposition tower now just to try and get behind.
Even though Hunter is inside Sword with rocks, Guntype just went, or Respectful just pushed through runway and finds himself completely flanking Cutting Edge right now. With Overshield coming up, he's going to have a perfect flank on him.
Yeah, Flux was able to grab the Overshield. He has lost it at this point, but still, again, an advantageous position for Invincible to find themselves in. They're controlling the power weapons, they're controlling the power-ups, they've got control of the map, but they're also sending Respectful in the right areas just to be a nuisance, just to try and encourage Cutting Edge to push through some of these hallways. And I think naturally Cutting Edge are going to have to do so anyway, because they need to find some kills, as Guntype's going to try and take this fight just down on his sniper tower with Posey, and it should be an easy one for him, which it is. Guntype almost seems untouchable on the tower at the moment.
Yeah, Guntype's playing this like so well, Dan. I mean, just holding down his side of the map, playing this top turret position with the snipe is exactly what you want to be doing on Pit Slayer, and Guntype is just trying to watch so many lanes right now, but his team's doing a good job of knocking out the green and camo side to where all he has to do is worry about training and runway.
On another screen, I can see Jimbo hitting a huge flank right now. Has found himself round to the opposition sniper tower. He can make a big play to take down the sniper as long as he doesn't get no-scoped, which he doesn't. Looks across, and now the distraction technique has worked perfectly. Flux is able to join him on training, and that's 2, maybe 3 big kills from the Invincible squad to again just increase this lead. But Guntype finally fell on the tower just at the wrong time, and Jimbo gets taken out.
Yeah, but the damage was done, Dan. The damage of keeping Cutting Edge on their back feet at their base, worried about Jimbo as he picked up 2 kills there. I mean, that was a phenomenal flank by Jimbo because Invincibles is giving off the perception that they're going to play this slow and that they're going to sit back and let Gun-Type slay. While Jimbo flanks like that, they had no idea Jimbo was behind them until he was able to pick up 2 kills, 1 on the sniper. That is so frustrating if you're on the side of Cutting Esports.
And again, those rockets should be coming up very shortly as well, unless they were dirtied, of course. But it looks like they're in the hands of Invader. So the rockets still going in favor of Cutting Edge. But as you quite rightly mentioned early on, it doesn't really matter if you're getting the overshields, which is what has happened for Invincible. They've really controlled the overshield throughout this game. Gun-Type gets spotted out, and it's a 3-on-1 situation there. And then the sniper shot from Posey only connects with the body, but damage is done. Still only 8 kills behind. There is still a chance for Cutting Edge to get back into this, but they need to maybe find this next overshield that will be coming up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we just saw Hunter JJ lift onto Invincible's turret right now. If he stays alive, this is going to be their opportunity to come back in this game and really snowball some kills back in their favor.
Yeah, very hard when someone is on your tower, but Jimbo gets the important kill to take him down as Evader is trying to hit some shots from top banana here. Now it's just a 6 kill, make that a 7 kill game as Jimbo's found himself a sniper rifle. And I think this is what I like from Invincible. They always are happy to send either 1 or 2 players on a flank when they think they're being pressured on their side of the map, just to try and flip it round and encourage the opposition team to join them back on their side of the map.
Absolutely. Creating that chaos is so key to a team like Cutting Edge Esports that doesn't really have that much tournament experience as far as success goes, and making the game as chaotic as possible, but your side of it is controlled, is what's key for what Invincible has done to find success. Although Cutting Edge Esports, they're coming back in this game, Dan.
They are, yeah. Jimbo got into Sword with the sniper rifle, but missed a couple of relatively easy shots. Not used to seeing Jimbo miss those. Only a 2-kill game now, and it looks like Invincible have been caught on spawn here. They're kind of trapped in their own base, but Gun-Type gets an important kill to keep Cutting Edge off of their tower. And now this is where Kyle has a real chance with this sniper rifle. Does spot Gun-Type, but can't connect with the headshot. Thankfully, he had teammates with him, so respectful falls. And suddenly, it's just a 1-kill game. Overshield coming up very shortly as well. And it looks like Cutting Edge finally are in a position to maybe grab this one.
Overshield is coming up, but does Cutting Edge have the actual time of it? It doesn't look like it because no one on Cutting Edge is actually at the Overshield. And we did just see Flux sneak in and pick it up. That's going to be traumatic for Cutting Edge's Esports' experience to try and come back in this game, Dan.
Yeah, because when you don't know the timing, you can't just sit on that overshield and wait, because otherwise you're going to be subject to a lot of grenades coming from every single direction. But Flux doing very well with the timing, all the coach behind them doing very well with the timing. Regardless, they have a 3-kill lead, and now they're going to get aggressive with this overshield. I love this play. I like to see aggression from a team that knows they are the dominant force, that knows they should be winning. Flux finds one, he looks across, can't find a second, but meanwhile, the flank again from Gun-Type. There always seems to be one player flanking.
It happened off screen, but Jimbo out-sniped whoever had the sniper on Cutting Edge Esports, and that really opened up a push to get them this separation of the 4 kills right here. Jimbo has been sniping like a monster all game. You got to shout him out. That was an incredible snipe he hit on the player cuts there. It did happen off screen, but it opened up that entire push we just witnessed.
And he gets the final kill as well. 50-44, Invincible. They looked a little bit shaky towards the latter stages of that game, but they're able to clutch out Jimbo with 19 kills as well. That's the Jimbo that we should be seeing. It's perhaps the Jimbo we didn't see enough of yesterday, but it shows when you're confident and when you're playing a team that you think you should be beating, suddenly you're given that freedom to get those kills.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the stats, we see that Respectful was the only player to go negative on Invincibles, but I don't want that to stick out as Respectful was playing bad, because Respectful might not have had the power weapons that his teammates had, but he was keeping an aggression. He was creating an opening for the snipers on his team in that game. And it's plays like that that really make the game so easy for players like Jimbo and players like Gun-Type to sit back with the sniper and get the easy picks that they were getting that game. Great job by Invincibles throughout the entire game to just kind of control the entire pace of how they wanted that game to be played.
It was how the Invincibles, they were just so free to send at least one player flanking throughout the entire game. And at the start of the game, it was Respectful quite a lot, and he was being caught out. And I think that's why the statistics showed that he was quite negative. However, he then flipped that role and said, look, can someone else go maybe try a different angle, because they're reading me and they're predicting me. And as soon as then Jimbo was on the flank and then suddenly Gun-Type was on the flank, they were finding these new avenues, these new angles, and they were able to actually get some really serious flanks on the go, which was able to pick them up that serious lead that they had. All right, well, game 3, as you can see on your screen, is going to be Oddball on Guardian. Clutch, thoughts on this one? You think this is going to go 3-0 to Invincible?
Yeah, I said it before the series started. I'll say it again now that they're up 2-0. Why not? My prediction's looking solid. Invincibles, yeah, they look good today. You know, they're doing a great job. I do have some concerns about their lack of rocket control, but they did a good job of mitigating the damage that the Rockets were able to do throughout the entire game. There's not rockets on Guardian, so that's a good thing.
That's a positive.
Right, and they were doing a good job of getting the overshield, so if they can get the camo, it'll work out in their favor once again.
If their timings are on and if Flux carries on with his power-up control that we saw in the pit, then they should have a lot of camouflage to work with indeed. But can they get the objective done? Can they hold the ball in the right places? Because that's what Guardian Oddball is all about. But that sniper rifle could be very important as well. Maybe Respectful wants to get his hands on that and start to go to town. Are we going to see Cutting Edge get back into this? We have seen Cutting Edge throughout the open bracket play Guardian Oddball. They haven't lost Guardian Oddball yet this tournament, but I could have said the same about Slayer Pit. So maybe it just seems that the Invincibles or Invincible are too much of a match for these guys.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how these teams decide to play this game type. I know Evader especially can do so many different jumps and make the game so chaotic for you on a map like Guardian. He's the one that's kind of mastered a ton of jumps, as you see him jump S1 from Elbow right here. I mean, Guntype didn't expect the player to be there. And that's the kind of stuff that Evader can do on a map like Guardian that'll really throw you off. So things like that work in their favor to try and claw back in this series.
A lot of fights top middle, but no one's been able to grab the ball just yet. And Hunter just getting that reminder on the screen just to let him know how to pick up a weapon in case he's forgotten. Flux is able to get that ball towards Green and towards a teammate, as Hunter is pushed from behind, and it's very messy at the moment. A lot of players maybe in situations they weren't expecting to be in, as Guntype picks up a triple kill, with Kyle being the final one of that 3. And that's going to give him a lot of confidence in this game. I think if you get a triple kill early on, you are just going to be running at people. You feel like your shot's on, you're going to be feeling confident. That's scary, because I think Guntype has so much potential.
Yeah, you guys see a triple kill on your screen. What I saw this morning was Guntype and Fantasy playing one-on-one. What did Fantasy do this morning against Reciprocity? He went off, Guntype going off in this series. They must have really been grinding those one-on-ones early on, and they were both shooting pretty well. And they were about tied in the 1v1s that I saw, so it was really interesting to watch. And it's obviously paying off dividends for both of them.
I can really appreciate the movement from Guntype here, just going from every single spawn position, just finishing people off and just looking for extra spawns as well. Really flowing well with the rest of the Invincible squad as Jimbo gets a beat down onto Kyle, and now he's looking for double. He's looking for the medals, and he does take down Hunter. It just seems like everything is going the right way for Invincible at the moment, and they're starting to gather some time too.
Yeah, you can feel the momentum in the side of Invincibles right now. They are very confident. They are swarming spawns on Guardian Ball when you can set up, but they're choosing not to. They're kind of just choosing to, hey, we're better than this team. We're better than this team. We know it, and we're going to show it.
And I think that's always important, is to recognize when you are the stronger side and actually take advantage of it. But Evader is going to be top middle, and he does spot out Guntype. Nice little beat down just to assure that he's not able to survive, but no one able to grab the ball yet. I think that even though Cutting Edge are behind, they realize that if they try and grab the ball, they might just give it away to Invincible as he goes soaring off the map. And now Flux, as we said, had great power-up control in the last game, and he's rewarded with it here with some camouflage control.
Yeah, you know, I complimented Evader and his ability to do jumps on the map, and then he falls off the map. I don't know what to tell you, Evader. That was not good for your team. If things are not going your way as far as jumps are concerned, your shot isn't helping you either.
It happens to the best of us at times, as Flux is just going to wait like a sneaky beaver here. Does find one, looks for the second in Kyle, and that is going to be a double kill. Don't think he'll quite get the triple, but he's got a Mauler in his back pocket, which means this push to S2 could be very deadly enough. I think that maybe Cutting Edge sniffed that one out, and that's why they quickly retreated down Elbow just to get away.
I'm kind of just excited to watch I was going to say Guntype go to work with the snipe, but he was able to be taken down very quickly to a nade one shot. And on the bright side for Cutting Edge, they're only down 40 right now, and it feels like they've been getting slayed the entire game. So there is still hope for them. They can still turn it around, but they have to do it now, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's because Cutting Edge haven't been grabbing that ball and they've not been throwing it towards any kind of spawn direction, so Invincible haven't been able to take advantage of the sheer slaying power we've seen so far, as Respectful gets a no-scope right to the pinky toe. Unfortunately can't connect with the head though, as Evader takes him down. We've not really seen anyone go off with the sniper rifle just yet.
Yeah, great play by Flux there. Able to just cut off the ball guy's angle, and the ball guy knew he was there, but Flux outplayed him. did jump up and hit a melee, and now it looks like Invincibles is going to be able to get another setup.
Yeah, Invincible setting up, getting decent amount of ball time, starting to run away with this game. And my question to you, Clutch, is what do Cutting Edge have to do differently if they're actually going to find themselves some ball time in this game?
Well, I don't think they have time to pray, Dan, but they're going to have to start getting some kills. It's looking grim. They haven't had any power weapons, they haven't had any camos, and they've been jumping off the map throughout the game. So that combination does not make for a good recipe.
And of course, practice does make perfect, and we often see throughout various iterations of Halo, the teams that usually are more well-drilled do perform exceptionally well. And Invincible, they did have a couple of weeks of practice. Maybe it's not as much as they like. For a lot of the online cups, they were playing with Riots. You may know him, a very good European player, but unfortunately he couldn't make it out. So they got that replacement of Guntype, and I've got to say, Guntype seems to be fitting him very well.
I'd say that's a great exchange for this Invincible squad. This Guntype player has always been underrated, always had a ton of individual skill, never really got the chance that I thought he could have gotten, and never really has performed in a tournament the way I've wanted to see him perform. He's having a great Saturday so far in these first 2 games. He's got to carry it on, though. I mean, this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning, and of course, the winner of this team, the winner of this game, will still go into the elimination bracket. Unfortunately for Invincible, they lost to Tox and they lost to Denial yesterday. They'll be the 2 teams that will most likely be, well, actually, definitely will be progressing through to the winner bracket later on today. As Guntype finds himself a sniper rifle again, but this time it's grenades that managed to put him to bed, and instead Jimbo's going to find a little present. That's just quick thinking from Cutting Edge, making sure they push, not allowing the sniper rifle to get out of control.
Yeah, you can see Invincible kind of getting a little sloppy there. Guntype choosing not to stay alive and trying to just make a play. S1 there, I would have liked to see him just go S2 and try and stay alive with the sniper, but at this point, I think this Invincible roster really is comfortable with how this series is going out, and especially the flow of this game, finding themselves up 50 seconds right now. It's going to be a lot for Cutting Esports to even try and come back in Game 3, let alone this series. They do throw snipe off the map there, but I mean, you can see Invincibles is showing that they're starting to show their feathers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope that Invincible don't get too confident and start pushing out individually and then just fall to easy BR shots, easy snipe shots, but they pushed together, they got all 4 down, and now they're able to put even more ball time on the board as Jimbo's behind, and he's managed to pick up a camouflage as well, so he's going to desperately try and survive here whilst he's being called out by Cutting Edge. Hunter tries to look around for him, and Jimbo's dodging every single angle, and he is going unseen. Eventually gets the melee, but does just need to make sure he doesn't give away an easy kill, but unfortunately can't connect with the melee.
Yeah, see, Jimbo could have played that situation better, but what's most important is that Invincibles is in control of the camo at that time. They're not letting Cutting Edge get the camo. They're not giving them the opportunity to have a camo guy to help them come back in this game. That's what I want to see from Invincibles. I want to see power weapon and power up control, and they've been doing a great job this entire series.
And even though Jimbo didn't, of course, get any kills with that camouflage, he was still eating away at time. They were still searching for him, as Posey is going to be smacked in the back as Respectful gets the double kill. You can see him eagerly looking for the triple. He does find the triple with the Mauler. Is there any sort of overkill possibility? No, there isn't, but at least that's going to be a triple for Respectful. And now still with a 70-point difference. I feel like Invincibles are just roaming around the map now and just doing as they please. It seems to be fairly easy. A little bit of a walk in the park at this point.
Yeah, I think all of these players are starting to find their footing as far as their shot and their individual confidence is concerned. We've seen each of them making plays, each of them landing some 4 shots, almost all of them dropping triple kills by this point. You can tell that Respectful is very confident right now, and I love what he's doing. He's not getting reckless. He's holding down side tower. He didn't feel the need to push elbow. He does pick up a kill before going down, and that's all really Invincible needs to do to be able to close this series out.
And that's all 4 dead temporarily for Cutting Edge, and it's another triple kill this time. It's for Jimbo. He's having a look around to see if that sniper rifle stayed on the map, but bad news, Flux already found it first, so he's the one who can have a little play around with it. He spots Hunter first, but can't quite connect with any of these shots. But look how aggressive he is. He just wants that kill. He's not afraid of the BR shots. Overly aggressive in the end, and it does come to his demise.
For the record, he did get blood on that first shot. I'm going to give him that confidence for him. He's probably very confused as to why he got blood, so am I. I don't think it's going to determine too much of the outcome of this game, so Flux, you'll be all right, brother.
He'll be all right. Just put that one behind and forget about it. Maybe different if they were losing the game, as Respectful's got another double kill again, and this lead seems to be generating more and more the further we get into this game. Doesn't really seem like Cutting Edge have a way back into this game at the moment. maybe it'll be a camouflage that will really get a sick play that they can finally set up, because that's something they've not been able to do. They haven't been able to set up properly once because Invincible keep breaking it down.
The biggest problem with that statement, though, Dan, is you're down, what, 90 seconds? Like, you need at least 2 guys going off for a very long time. I mean, one play is not going to cut it at this point. You found yourself too far in a hole. You dug yourself too far. And at this point, Guardian Ball is just too hard of a map to try and mount this comeback.
Yeah, Cutting Edge, even though they're getting the kills, a lot of them are cleaned up kills and they're traded rather than stringing together the double kills, the triple kills that we've seen on the other side from Invincible. Kyle does have a few sniper bullets to work with, but Flux sniffs him out immediately, and instead he might pick up that sniper rifle and see what he can do, but it was actually Invader who found it first, but he doesn't connect with the no-scope. The ball, again, reset into top middle, but Invincible can play this however they want now. They don't need to go for this ball. They can play it patiently. They can encourage Cutting Edge to push for it, and as soon as they do, that's when they can pounce on them.
Yeah, if I'm Invincibles right now and I've been, like, bopped twice in this tournament so far, I'm looking to, like, get my confidence back, and I'm not even concerned about the ball now that we're up 100. I'm looking to, like, overslay as much as I possibly can and really just get my individual skill back to where I think it is. And I think that that's what they've been doing throughout this game. They could have ended this game what feels like a long time ago if they wanted to, but they've been doing a good job of, like, really setting the pace and really, like, making individual plays, which is what they're going to need to be able to do against these top teams later on.
Yeah, I think even though a lot of teams would probably say, oh, we weren't just kind of stat padding, we weren't just warming up, I think in the back of their mind, they're not actively looking for the objective as much as they would be in a high-pressure situation, because they know how comfortable this game currently is. Flux goes flying through the air and unfortunately dies because of it, as now finally there's a little bit of ball time available for Cutting Edge, but they're still not picking it up. They're still just trying to get these slays because it's another camouflage from Invincible as Respectful gets the first kill and he pushes in to try and get number 2, rewarded with a sniper rifle. Everything's going well for Invincible.
Yeah, the amount of pressure that Invincibles is just laying on Cutting Edge is not giving them even the opportunity to try and hold on to the ball. I mean, honestly, the objective for Invincibles right now is to slay, because they find themselves up almost 100 seconds with like 4 minutes left. Like, you have 2 objectives. You can either get the ball and get time up, or your objective is to make sure the other team's not getting the ball. And they seem to be doing a great job of both throughout this entire game.
Yeah, doing both at the moment, and up the gold lift Posey goes, and down goes Posey's face. He gets taken out. Oh, Respectful almost gets a 2-for-1. That would have been a sick triple if he had. Instead, he's just going to have to wait here and be patient with his Mauler, as he has been all game. Respectful, we've seen him on this sniper tower constantly. He really has made it his own.
And timing on the side of Respectful as well, as he does pick up a no-scope headshot onto Invader. Everything going right for Respectful right now. He's feeling it.
He's feeling it. Invincible are feeling it. It looks like it's going to be that 3-0 victory that you quite rightly predicted before the game, Clutch. Do you think there is hope, though, for Cutting Edge going through this lower bracket? Can you see them potentially upsetting any other teams on their lower bracket run?
Yeah, this is when you try to set me up to be savage, and I'm not falling for it. Cutting Edge, I'm pretty sure they're very aware of how good they are as a team, and I'm not going to throw them under the boat. If they're not setting a great chance against the likes of Invincible, I do not like their chances to continue on in this bracket very far.
Well, I think the expression is actually throw them under the bus, but I'm going to throw you under the bus by saying it's not throw them under the boat. However, I admit that being thrown under a boat would probably be equally as painful, as so is a Mauler to the face from Posey. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. A lot of time needed for Cutting Edge to get back into this. And I think we're just playing this one out for the hell of it now for Invincible. And they are just going to look for more kills, try and boost their confidence. They will still be going into the elimination bracket despite this victory because of their losses earlier on in pool play. I will ask you the same question, however, Clutch. What do you think Invincible's chances are now you've seen them finally pick up a victory?
I think they look good today. I think that they are all... They don't, like, look perfect yet. They definitely have a lot to work on. They gave up every set of rockets in the Pit Slayer, which is something that they cannot afford to do, like I was saying, against top teams. But they were definitely making better individual plays, and they were... That's what this team needs. I mean, they have individual players like Jimbo, Respectful, Gun Type, like even Flux was making plays with the sniper. These guys have individual skill, but they need to be able to display it against better teams in order to move on. I think that they have a chance here, though. I think that they can regroup and turn this around, as we see a killing frenzy on the side of Respectful, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what Respectful wants to be doing in tournaments. It's great to see it early on Saturday, but it's got to be all Saturday. It can't just be against Invader and friends.
Yeah, he needs to do it against the bigger teams, and I think Invincible, they know that. They know they need to be performing better against the top 6 teams, because arguably they could be a top 8, a top 6 team when they're playing at their best. And you were speaking about the individual skill and how yesterday, for me, there was a lot of individual pushes from Guntype, from Jimbo, from Respectful over man cannons, etc., where they were constantly being caught out, arguably being slightly too predictable. And maybe I'd just like to see them mix things up a little bit more today, which they have done in this series. When it's not working out, they've given that job of flanking to another player. I think that's very important that they stay versatile so they can carry on performing the way they did in this game. 30 seconds left. The game, of course, is already mathematically impossible for Cutting Edge Esports. They will fall into the elimination bracket where they'll try and fight off maybe against an open team that already finds themselves in the elimination bracket as well. However, for Invincible, slightly small amounts of positivity to take from this game. They certainly look like they will have a chance of facing off against some of the better teams in the latter stages of this tournament. Because pool play, it's when we start to realize how teams are going to play for the rest of the tournament, isn't it, Clutch?
Yeah, for the majority of the time it is. I mean, you can have bad days. We did see Gabriel kind of have a struggle yesterday, and he stepped it up immensely today. So I'm not going to say pool play really defines who you are as a player, but it's definitely an important aspect of any successful team's tournament runs.
Well, you can see the statistics there, or at least I can see the statistics. If you squint, or if you have binoculars, you can see them on the players' screens. It was just a case for Invincible of just grabbing those kills when they could and just showing and asserting their dominance. I was very impressed with Invincible. You predicted the 3-0. I was hoping it was going to be a 3-0 because I know what that roster is capable of. And thankfully, they were able to perform and step up. And it's whether they're going to be able to carry on that form into the elimination bracket later on today. Miss Van Prague, I see you waiting eagerly in the wings. How did you find that game?
I found it kind of predictable for me, to be perfectly honest. I think that I saw Invincible shape up a little bit from yesterday. I felt like their speed and their pacing was a lot better, for sure. There's a couple of things I still think that they really need to work on. They're really lacking in their game overall, and it kind of does shine through. Even when they are producing really good gameplay against Cutting Edge, I still can see things that they need to improve on to up their game and going into the later parts of the tournament. You know, one thing that we were talking about as well, Lethal, was they're in that Guardian Ball. You know, their objective gameplay still isn't quite up to scratch for me. I think, you know, they had one section where they were holding snipe, they were holding ball on the elbow, and then they had the green control, but something wasn't happening. They were getting rained down on that elbow, and they did lose the control of the ball. Talk to me about what happened in that situation.
Normally when you see those kind of situations, you know, you have these different setups here and there, but that camera control is very important because it's an extra angle. It's very awkward to try and take that person out because it gives the person that sniper S3 more range to try and do whatever they can. But then also for the opposite team, if they want to make that counter attack and get that utility down, get those frags in from the S2 side to actually go across, it's a lot easier for them. But that time at Cameron, there's been a few times where they had to kind of push a little bit too deep around that gold side. But I think up to that point, they kind of knew they were going to win anyway. They've just been a little bit too aggressive in certain areas. If they were against a higher tier team, I'm sure they'd have stabilised a lot easier there. But I think one thing to point out is that when they do have that full setup and they're ready to try and get that ball time, they need to keep an eye on Blue Window and Snondiff just that little bit more and a bit faster in comparison to what we just saw there.
100%, but a huge step up from them as well.
Yeah,
you know, and individual play styles looking fantastic too. Guntype really showing up today. That North American pickup has done really, really good stuff for this EU roster. And then, I mean, Respectful, he always goes off. He never disappoints. Looking that lovely Mauler beatdown combo, loving that as well. He was, that Mauler was his all day long on that map as well.
It was literally matchmaking. You're seeing there, the sniper Mauler went plus 17. You know, I'm not really too surprised with him. It's like he's trying to get his 50 again, in all fairness.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to bring on now the captain of this team. I've got Jimbo coming up here on the desk. Welcome up, buddy. It's nice to have you here joining us. Lovely. Get
Hello,
your headset
Jim.
on. Can't wait to talk. There we
Hi
go.
guys.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
You
yeah,
good?
It was a good series. We needed something like that to bounce back after our struggle yesterday. So yeah,
Jimbo, talk to me a little bit more in depth about what was going wrong for you guys yesterday. We had, our opinions on the desk. A couple of things that came up was your speed wasn't quite there. Actually, you had the right mindset, and the things you were trying to do were actually going in the right direction, but you just couldn't quite get the speed and pacing right. Talk to me about what you guys were thinking.
Well, versus Denial, we were slaying very, very well. We just weren't very consistent with our objective. In the King of the Hill game versus them, we were even and slaying, but we just weren't making the most of the time like they were versus us. We kill one of them and they'd get in the time and milk that little bit of time, whereas we weren't doing that versus them. So we went back after we lost to Denial and started to look at it, and we were talking about it. And then versus Tox, we came in very, very objective mindset. We just got outslayed. We need to get a good mixture of the middle, which is something we definitely spoke about today. Like I said to Brandon just then, it's like if we let Respectful just slay, no one's going to stop him. I have full faith that anyone, he will outshoot, outplay anyone in this tournament. And I feel like I used to be able to do that, so it's something I need to work on as well. But if we just play our own individual game, our teamwork will just click after that.
That's one thing I was going to mention as well, is your personal performance. Yesterday, it was all right, but you seem to be a lot more consistent today. And obviously that series, you played really well, but do you feel a lot more comfortable today in comparison to what you did yesterday? Because I know your guys' mentality was a bit off-key considering that last game of that last series yesterday, but you seemed a lot more comfortable today in comparison.
I mean, you look at the competition, Denial and Tox, no disrespect to those guys, but I mean, obviously they're lower tiered than us, so it's... Obviously, I'm going to look good playing against them because, we just 3-0'd them kind of thing.
The honesty. Look at that honesty there.
I mean, I did feel like I played a bit better, but that could be because the opponents were a bit easier to play against,
I think it's a combination of things. Yeah. I think it's the amount of pressure that a team like Tox or Denial puts on you is, it's 10 times what a team like Cutting Esports is going to put on you. And it's that multiplied with the fact that you were able to get those power weapons this time around.
Yeah.
So you're not fighting Royal 2 with Snipe. You're not fighting Snakebite with rockets. You're the actual one with the snipes and the rockets. And the game's so much easier when you have the better weapons and more shield, or you're invisible, right?
Yeah.
It goes your way. And I mean, it's the pressure part of that goes into getting those power weapons and whatnot, so it's a lot more difficult against top teams. But I do think that you guys were able to find a good balance in this game. Even though you weren't getting rockets on pit, you were able to mitigate the damage that the rockets were going to do.
Yeah.
How do you expect to kind of continue that against the teams that are going to be applying that kind of pressure that Tox and the other top teams that you guys can compete with, as long as you're not giving them every weapon at all times?
I think we just need to stop. Whenever we're playing against these top teams, we want to try and play, outbeat them at their own game. And that's something that we can't really do because we don't have that practice and we're not used to that. I think that's what I was saying then, is I think literally if Respectful slays like he would slay, if Guntype slays like he would slay, if I slay, all of us slay like we would slay, I think we can just hopefully brute force through these kind of teams. Whereas obviously Tox, when we played against Tox yesterday, Narrows, it was so frustrating because me and Respectful were running around as a 2 and we were trying to work together, and Tox were just so good at bait and switch. And it's something that I thought was only in Halo 5, but you see it in Halo 3. It's so frustrating to play against, but there's so many of these things that we need to pick up on from playing more and more. But I mean, yeah, if we play our individual slaying game, I feel like we can compete at the best. It's just clutching up, which is something we lack on. It's just because playing against Europeans, we don't get in those situations.
Well, Jimbo, you are here for a reason. You guys are some of the best in the world for a reason. So go and use that to your advantage, and best of luck going through the tournament for the rest of today.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to take a quick break. But when we're back, we have our last group stage game coming your way. And it's one we have been waiting eagerly for, and I cannot wait. It's going to be Falling Esports versus Reciprocity.